Okay. Hi, Shay. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. I am so excited that you're on here. Her name is not Courtney Bohr, you guys. It's Cheyenne, but it's fine. And I was like looking in the in the participants for you. But what I really want you to start off with is what not just your life looked like before, because we can all watch probably a million YouTube videos on that. But I want to know, what was your mindset before you joined? And was your life like? Because I think sometimes it's like, oh, even when we get into recruiting people, I've done this before and I'm like, gosh, this person just doesn't have that mindset. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't either when I joined. like it's something we grow into. So can you kind of talk about what your life looked like before and where your head was at 18 years old jumping into this business?
Yeah. Also, if y'all never been on a Zoom with me, I don't like talking to screens with names on them. So I want you to turn your cameras on so I can see your faces because I hate it. But I did Courtney Bohr's Zoom and I was running behind. And I was like, I don't have time to log out of my Zoom and log into mine. So I'm just going to show up as Courtney Bohr, but I'll appreciate all that you do from that because I'll take Devil Ambassador from her anytime. But hi. So when I joined the business, I actually just talked about this on the Zoom before about, I grew up in government housing. Trailer park was where I came from, and government like assistance, like any kind of food stamps we were on. And so like when I joined this business, I didn't know how to dream. I didn't know how to think about like, oh, diamond, $2,000 a month. Oh, presidential diamond, $20,000 a month. I couldn't even wrap my head around 500, let alone thinking about making a triple diamond income of $10,000 a month. And so when I had joined the business, I joined my upline, Courtney, because she posted a picture next to her brand new car talking about how she paid cash for it at 19. And I was like, okay, bro, that's cool. But like, I just want $500 a month and I'll take that. And I literally in our messages, if you go back on Instagram, I say, is it possible for me to just make $500 a month? I don't want to make that much money. I literally told her that because the idea of me comprehending making that much money didn't even process in my brain at the time. And I just talked to my girls because I had people asking me, how do you like dream? How do you cast the vision? Like, how do you continuously keep going? Because I never stop. Like, I'm always doing the next thing. And they're like, how do you keep going? And it's like, how many of you in your 8 to 5 job does your job tell you, hey, watch this personal development video? Hey, read this John Maxwell book about, read the secrets of the millionaire mind to grow your money mindset. How many times do they do that? How many times do they tell you, hey, dream bigger, dude? Like, you want to go on vacation, you got 2 weeks paid vacation, where are you going to go? They don't tell you that. Hey, you're dreaming too small. You don't go to Miami, you go to Bora Bora. Like, you dream bigger. They don't tell you that. And so when I joined, this concept of being like these ambassador diamonds that I saw making $30,000 a month, I didn't have that mindset. But what I did was I grew one dream at a time. My first dream board, I should have kept it, but I put complete my steps to success every month of the year. I put enroll 10 distributors, which is not completing your steps to success every month of the year, but I said enroll 10 distributors. I said enroll 4, I don't think I knew what steps to success was. Okay. So therefore I already wasn't dreaming, but I was like, enroll 4 customers a month. That was steps to success. And I said, help someone on my team go Ruby. That was my dream board. And that was huge for me then. Like, I couldn't even wrap my head around me going Ruby, let alone helping somebody on my team go Ruby. And now I look at my dream board and it says top 15, 20 personally enrolled diamonds. There's a letter up there that I'm going to give my dad one day where I pay off his land. Buy a house up there. Never thought that was going to happen in 2020, but like 30 days later, I bought a house, and I don't know. I put, clear out 2 rows of VIP leaders at conference. I didn't start this business dreaming like that. I watched other people. I borrowed other people's belief. I borrowed my upline's belief every time she told me to go after another promotion. And, I think about even when I was going ambassador and I had to pull in 130,000 volume in 30 days, like that was something I was having to really stretch myself to get around. And so every promotion, every person you enroll, every time something happens in your business, you're constantly having to grow and dream more and more because you'll realize, okay, I just want $500 a month. Mm-hmm. And then you do it. And you're like, okay, well, what else do I want? Let's try a car payment now. Let's try to pay off a car payment. And then I paid off, that car payment every single month. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm supposed to buy a car. Okay, buy the car. And I went and bought the car. And he was like, okay, pay it off. And I'm like, oh shoot, that's a lot of money. Okay, pay it off. And then you just did one thing after another until you started dreaming so big that you couldn't even keep up with your own dreams.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that you said, because this is not talked about a lot when it's like, well, how do I dream bigger? And you said, I watched other people. And we have a negative connotation with watching other people because it can get unhealthy,
Mhm.
right? But it's kind of like, how much do you love your dog? Like, I mean, it's like there's unhealthy levels of everything. How much do you love your spouse, right? Like, it's like there's unhealthy levels to every single thing. But when you start thinking about, okay, I need to start learning how to dream. And one of the mistakes that I did was I just started putting dreams that I thought I should do before I even fully believed the first one. And I think that we all have to evaluate, okay, are you just putting diamond because that's what you think you should and that's what everybody else is doing? Or are you putting diamond because you actually believe that you can do it? Right? And it doesn't mean that you believe you can do it this month or next month or whatever, but do you believe that you can do it? Period. That's the first question. Then you decide, when do I think I can do it? But so many people put a timeline without asking the first question, right? They'll say, oh, well, if I just don't go diamond by 45 million seconds into the business, then no, I'm not doing it. And it's like, well, do you believe you can do it? Then it's a process of how fast do you want to pour into self-development and how fast do you want to start believing in yourself. It's not, oh, well, if the business can't give me this, then that. It's what are you giving back to the business? Right. And I think that that's something like a misstep we have sometimes is we're like, oh, well, let's just put this because other people are putting this. And yes, of course you want to borrow people's belief and be inspired by other people, but let's figure out what is that first step for you. And I love that you're talking about your first dreams because it goes to show you like you will put what you believed, not what you thought you should believe, but what you believed. Okay, I think I can do like $500 a month. I think I can do 4 customers a month. But it starts at faith the size of a mustard seed. And saying that's a stretch. And it doesn't have to, but what happens is we start saying, oh, well, mine is so small compared to so-and-so. So maybe I should make mine bigger when really we're not fitting into that pant size that we first talked about anyways. First. So let's talk about, I love this conversation so much. So let's talk about was coming from government assistance, like growing up with a family that had government assistance, did you struggle getting that $30,000 a month paycheck mindset? And what was the process and what is the process? Because it's a constant one. It's not this flow that everybody wants to have, right? But what is that and what has that looked like for you?
So I'll never forget. It was like those $2,000 a month paychecks were like huge for me. It was like I am making more money than I would even make with a full-time job. I was making more money at that time than my mom ever brought home in a month. And I was 18, making $2,000 a month, and I earned a 5,000. I mean, I just felt like P Diddy. We're being honest. It was like, oh my, y'all, I am it. I've arrived. We are here. I really let it get to my head, and then God humbled me real freaking quick and was like, oh, you want to maintain executive for 10 months? Here you go. Like that's kind of what happened in my business because I stopped working, and it was like, okay, $2,000 a month. Here we go. Like this is it, and then it was gone faster than I could even like appreciate it. And then, I went through that whole struggle and I talk about it all the time. You probably all know the story. And, I went to conference and I saw all these people making all this ridiculous amounts of money. And I was like, why do I feel cool about my two when these people are making $100,000 a year? And I'm over here like, popping bottles with two. And so it was in that moment that I stretched myself again and saw all these people dreaming and saw all these people and listened to these stories of people that lived exact same lives as me making all this money. And so then I went double and, I was double for 60 days, I saw 2 paychecks as a double diamond, and then I went triple. And so, double was pretty significant because it was a little bit more than that $2,000 a month. It was at 5, but then I saw my first triple diamond paycheck. I was dorm room shopping for my second semester of school. And I literally got the notification in the line of the checkout line. I left my buggy in the line. I was boogied outside of my car because everyone was like, Shay, like commission's posted. And I was too afraid to look at that paycheck and what would happen if I opened it in that line about to check out in the TJ Maxx. So I left my buggy, went outside, got in my car, and I opened my first triple diamond paycheck. And it was almost $16,000 income disclosure statement here. And I did not expect that ever. And it was in that moment I saw that paycheck. And I instantly went back to when I was sitting in the car with my mom and she had opened her tax return and it told her how much money she had made for the year. And my mom had made a little over $16,000 in an entire year of working every day at a medical clinic. And I just made in 1 month what my household income was in an entire year. I have never, Kim K. Ugly, cried more than I did in that moment when I was looking at this paycheck that I could not believe was mine. I was 19 years old. I was just shopping at TJ Maxx for all my $5 items and my candles and all my home decor that I was going to put in my dorm room that I was already paying on my own. And I saw this paycheck that was more than my household income was in a year. And I know me and Kelsey have had these conversations quite a few times, and I've had to overcome a lot of self-limiting beliefs when it came to money of like, who am I to think that I could ever deserve a $30,000 paycheck? You know, when I went presidential, made almost $30,000. And I remember looking at that paycheck and bawling my eyes out and just thinking, how is this my life? Because I never, ever imagined this. I came here for a couple $100s a month to pay my bills, and it was hard. I went through, I texted Courtney about it a lot because I really struggled with it because I wanted to be happy about it. And I wanted to be proud and just like so overwhelmed with this feeling. But all I could feel was, it's not enough, or it's too much, or this is too much money, or, what if it all goes away? Like when I first purchased my car, the first feeling that I felt when I sat in the car after I left the dealership and got in there and I was sitting in my car, I was like, okay, if this business crashes and I lose all my money, I have my car and it's paid off and nobody can take it from me and I can just live in my car if something happens. Like that was my mindset. That was how limiting I was of myself, of more money and more things, because I had never seen anything like that before. And so I'm sitting in my car thinking, what if everything crashes and burns? I have a vehicle that I drive. Like, why was I thinking like that? I don't know. And then when I went to go purchase my home, it was like, I went and I was like, okay, I don't even know, like, how do you buy a home? How do you know how much you can spend on a home? Like, if it's $275, do I have to pay cash for it? I don't know how this works. And I mean, it was so mind-boggling. And they were like, okay, well, send over your tax returns and stuff, and we'll figure out how much money you've made, and we'll figure out how to, establish your house. If you ever bought a house, it's the most stressful thing you'll ever do in your life. And they don't prepare you for that at all. And he was like, he called me back and he said, hey, you're pre-approved for any of the homes we sent you on the list. And I cried in my car for literally an hour and a half because this person who used to live on my friends' couches because my mom couldn't pay the bills, or we would get the pink slips all the time. And then we would go in line and use our, food stamps to pay for the food for the week. And we would go to Taco Bell because that's all we could afford. And I would ask for the $7 to go to the movies. And my mom would look at me and you just knew that there was nowhere that it was coming from because there was no money in the bank account. And here I am purchasing a home that I'm just pre-approved for. So it was a lot of growing. This book was the first book that changed my whole life. I have still all the sticky notes in here from when I read it because I'm like, I talk on my team Zooms and they're like, hey, I have a question. I'm like, okay, page 122, here's your answer. It's so good. But the more that you make and the more that you work for it and the more that you see what you've done come into fruition and start seeing all of these goals that you hit, and then you start watching your team do it. And you start watching them dream bigger, and you start watching them say, okay, well, I remember when you hit a 5-figure savings account, like I want to hit a 5-figure savings account. They start hitting these goals, knowing the things that they've gone through and the things they've overcome. Like, when you overcome those, it's not only overcoming it for yourself, but it's for your team. Like it's going through that process of growing. And, one of the most significant things I'll ever remember Pam talking about was when she was talking about money, and she was like, money's money. Just make more of it. Like, it's just money. Like money flows to you. Everything that you do, like you just work for it and you make this money. But she just kept saying, money is money. Make more of it. It's just money. And money flows to you. And so now that's all I ever think about. It's like, it's just a paycheck. It's just money. I can make more of it. I can make a lot more of it if I want to, because there's a glass ceiling in this business. And she always said, our company's going beyond $1 billion. How much of it do you want?
Mm-hmm.
All of it.
Another thing that she told me in regards to money that's always stuck with me is money is energy. Are you attracting it? And I was like, oh my gosh. And something else that I've always remembered about money is if you put all the money in a pile, don't you think it would go to the same people? Don't you think they would go to the same people? And I was like, yeah, yeah. And I feel like I was just like, dang, like it's literally not anything other than what we make it. It's like I was listening to this video and it wasn't about money, but it was about something else. And it was talking about how if our only experience with a dog is we get attacked by a dog and it bites our leg, and then we never have a dog growing up, we never experience anything, we're going to be scared of all dogs. So we won't know the difference between nice dogs, bad dogs, whatever. It's the same thing with money. If what you experience with money when you're growing up is all fear and pain and frustration, you're going to grow up saying things like, I hate money. Oh gosh, I just wish money wasn't a thing. Money is just annoying. Money is hard. Money, I don't want to mess with it, right? Like, because that's all you experience. But when you start to realize and you start to get good memories, and I think that's what you're saying, Shay, is like you built up more evidence for the good power that money can have, like the amazing things money can do for people. And it's not the things that we see on TV, like, oh, you steal money from people and all these bad people have money, right? It's like, wow, I just can help my church. I can go on a mission trip. I can do amazing things with it. And so we have to build up, because if you grow up with no money, you have no evidence that money can be good and powerful and useful. And God uses money, right? We grow up with money is bad and money is evil and money causes people to do bad things and all of these ideas about money. But we have to create that new evidence, and sometimes you have to be the evidence for yourself. So I love that. I think that's so freaking good. Okay. So when you feel like you are getting in a rut or in a pass in your business where you're like, okay, I don't know where to go. I feel like, what kind of things have you learned or taught yourself to do to get yourself out of those ruts?
So you want to know what's crazy? Is I actually texted Rachel about this today because I'm in it. Y'all, we are in it right now. And I don't know why. Like it was, I went, probably because I went ambassador and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to be doing? There's so much stuff. Everyone needs me. I'm required everywhere. I'm being pulled in 15 different directions. Like I went through it, y'all. And I went through this mental battle of like, I'm frustrated with myself because I know what I need to be doing. And I know that there's all these things that are expected of me. And I want to do these big things. I want to promote, I want to keep going, but like, I'm not feeling it. Okay. Drop a one in the comments if you've ever had those moments. You're like, I'm just really not feeling it. Not feeling it. Well, what made me even more mad about it is how often I preach to my team about when you get in these moments, don't work your business based on how you feel. And so today, I woke up this morning, I had a god-awful headache, okay? And all I want to do is lay in bed. I was like, I just want to lay in bed and just like die with my fan on high and just freeze and just like pull my head under the covers and act like I have zero responsibilities whatsoever. And I can't do that because I've got new distributors that need me. I've got new distributors on my 2.0, they're flipping killing it, sending me screenshots and all this stuff that's going on. And it's like, I can't do that. I can't peace out. I can't fade out. But what I can do is I can take moments for myself. I can take those moments, refresh, take a bath, go on a walk, go do something that fills me up. And something I always talk to my team about is doing things that sustain you and drain you, positive and negative energies. You wake up, you make your coffee video, you read your personal development, you're feeling really, really good. And then you've got to go respond to all your text messages from your team of them texting you about their crazy Karen customers that are being disrespectful and rude about their $50 membership fee and the distributor that canceled their account. And now this person's promotion's falling apart. And like, you have to deal with that because you are their trash can and they are coming to you with a dumpster fire. And you're like, bro, it's 9 a.m. I just woke up. And you've got all these feelings that you feel as soon as you wake up, and like, it's hard. But when you expect it and you know that it's going to be hard and you know that like today I knew I wasn't going to have a good day. So I got up, I went to the grocery store, I made myself remove myself from my bed. Okay. I was like, I'm going to go do something productive, went to the grocery store. I came home, I meal prepped for myself, and then I sat down on my couch and I posted my bait host for my host to post, and I got up my 10 host to post. And I went and I posted on my story about the skinny brew and about the deal, and I did it even though I didn't want to. And then I came home and I went to go eat dinner with my dad. And I got home and my brother called me, and I've been super open about it, but my sister-in-law has terminal breast cancer, and they called today and he told me that the doctor came by and she has 1 week left. And I wasn't expecting that at all. And I had this Zoom, and I had the Zoom for Courtney Bohr, and I was already not having a good day where I didn't feel 110% on it. And then that happened, and it's like you feel good, and then it like life knocks the breath out of you, and you're like, well, shoot, okay. And I had my time with my family, and we all talked about it, and we FaceTimed them, and I didn't want that to happen. And obviously, I don't expect life to happen like that, but it's not a matter of if life happens, it's a matter of when. And I don't have the option to just go MIA or peace out on my team. Like, I am the backbone and the foundation of my team, and you are the foundation for your team. And so when you get in funks and life happens to you, like, guys, we're human. You're not in a funk. You're not discouraged. You're just having a bad day. Like, you're having a bad time. You're having emotions go through your head. We're women. We're freaking hormonal. Like, we're up and down all the time. Like, we've got so much stuff happening, but it's a matter of you asking yourself, what can I control? I ask myself this basically every day when I have, like, it always seems like it's a flood of like distributors coming to you with their problems, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my ever loving mind if one more person comes to me with a problem. I can't deal with it. And when you're like super yellow like me and you take it to heart, and then you're emotional about it, and then you're drained, you're like done for the day. Then you have to fill yourself back up, because you can't expect yourself, like, we're humans, like, we've got feelings, we have emotions, like, you can't let it all just bottle up with you. And so now, like, knowing that that happened, like, today wasn't the best day, it's like now I still have text message. I've been on Zooms for 2 hours. My phone, I have 47 text messages right now. I still have to respond to them, and I still have to get my work done, and I still have to do them. And so I challenge you to, number one, read relational intelligence. Cammy's been talking about it a lot, but like, you cannot work your business based on a feeling, because if you do, you will crumble. You must work your business based on where you're going and what you want and the things that you're going to do and the things that are on that dream board that you worked so hard to finally build up, because you finally realized how you can dream. And looking at all the people on your team and thinking, if I don't show up, they don't either. If I don't push for that promotion, they don't either, because you're a cap on your team. You're the cap, you're the lid. And if you don't open it and be vulnerable and tell them that maybe you're not having a great day, or you've been feeling off, and I always tell them after. I don't tell them in the moment. I don't tell them in the moment when I'm having a bad time. I'm just telling y'all because you get a sneak peek into my life, okay? It's not always good, and it's not always perfect, and you're not expected to have it together all the time. But what you are expected to do is to be transparent and to know yourself and to figure out the things that are going to get you back to sustained level. When you've done things that drain you, you have the negatives. Like, I do not like doing host to post. I hate them. They drain me. They make me hate my life and want to cancel my e-suite and go to a foreign country and not come back. I hate them. But you want to know how I enroll and how I make a ton of money in fast start bonuses and cabs, and I help my girls get their shopping spree, and I continue promoting, is flipping, flapping host to post. So I do them anyways, because I know what they do for my business. It's like, I don't love to do 90% of the things that I do, but I know what comes out of it, and I make it fun, and I do certain things, and I do my power hours, and I get it done, and then I do things that make me feel good. I love posting. I love typing captions. I love editing my pictures. I love making stories on Instagram. So I do the host to post things first because I hate them, and then I go back and do the things that I love, so that I'm making sure I'm staying at a positive energy from draining and sustaining over and over and over. But I also know, as if you know a speed bump's coming in front of you in your car, what do? You slow down and you go over it gracefully. If you don't see that speed bump because you're too busy talking or on your phone how you're not supposed to, or you're looking at that store to the left, you're going to slam into that speed bump and your wheels are going to fall off, and it's going to knock the breath out of you, and it's going to be like, bam, took you out. So if you know life's going to happen, and you know you're going to get discouraged, and you know there's going to be moments where you don't feel great about your business, when you know it's coming, slow down, go over it gracefully, and you keep going. You don't let it take you out and make you stop.
I love that. It's so good. And I'm going to be praying for your family. I'm so sorry. That makes my heart hurt. But just, you guys, like, everything that she said, we're all going through something. We're all going through something. Right now, we could have the best pity party in the freaking world if we wanted to, and we could put in our comments about all the reasons why we don't want to, or we can't, or we shouldn't work this business. But what we're choosing to do is show up. And sometimes all you can do is show up. There's days when all I've done is just be there. Like literally just, I'm just here. I don't know what I can provide, but I'm here. And I think, like she said, it's not, nothing's wrong with you, but you're human and you're going to have those days and it's okay. And what I was talking to our leaders about last night is stop feeling guilty. Guilty is a paralytic. It paralyzes you. So saying, oh, well, I just feel so guilty for like not working my business. Nobody asked you to feel that way. Stop feeling that way. What you have to do, what people want you to do, is take responsibility and then move forward. Right? You can't go back and change it. So what's the guilt doing? Creating you not working even more. So then you're feeling more guilty. And then it's like this whole cycle. And you know how you stop it is you just say, hey, I wasn't there today and I'm sorry. I wasn't there for the last 2 weeks and I'm sorry. And you know what? I'm going to do a lot better job at my effort and showing up. And just saying that, you guys, there's so much power in just being honest. And I think that people connect with that. Craig Rochelle says people will admire you for your strengths, but they're going to connect to you through your weaknesses. And so it's so important that we're not having a pity party of all of our weaknesses, but that we don't come off as like superhuman, you know, because that nobody feels like they can do what you're doing if what you're doing is unattainable for them. If they look at their life and they say, I could never do that. My life is so crazy with X, Y, and Z because you're showing your perfectly polished pictures and your perfectly polished house with your perfectly polished kids and your perfectly polished dog and your friggin' perfectly polished white picket fence. And that's it. But if you say, you know, this is life, this is me, this is what happens, but through the ups and the downs, I'm so grateful that I have a business that is this business is so full of grace. On the days you don't show up, you want to know what the business says? It still is here. And we'll be there for you tomorrow. And we'll be there for you tonight. And it will be there for you. And that's the beautiful thing. But you have to get to the point where you're taking responsibility for it. And you're showing up not based on your feelings, but based on what you want. What do you want? Okay, let me get back to some of the questions. Okay, what do you feel like you do as far as tasks every single day and posting, and like, do you have like, did your 6 list change from when you were an executive to where you are now?
Nope. I do the same thing that I teach my new distributors on my new distributor training to do. The same 6 list that's on my background that I share to them on our Zoom, because there's not a single thing that changes as you progress throughout the ranks. The only thing that changes is the time, the leadership, the growth, and the amount of things that you put into your business extra behind the scenes that have nothing to do with working your business. Okay. Like all the time I spend on coaching calls with my girls and voice messaging and phone calls and damage control and all those things, those are extra and those come with every rank that you go through. But the amount of work, like the actual things that I do, the host to post I hate, the posting on my story, the captions, like that's all the stuff that you get taught to do every day. I don't change it. I do the same thing. The same scripts I share with my team are the same scripts that I use every day. The same post I put on my stories that are screenshotted or made from somebody else that I put in my iCloud sharing album for my team to use. We post the same ones. Like I do the same thing. And I think that a lot of times what happens is, you know, as we're promoting and we get stuck, the first thing that we do is, well, they must be doing something I'm not. They must be, you know, doing, they have a golden host to post message that they're not sharing. Oh, Sheyenne went ambassador because she's got this message that she's keeping from everybody because she's, no. My middle name is One Team, One Mission. You probably have the same script that I use. I promise you, because I probably shared it. Like I do everything that I teach my team to do. I just do more of it. I think that's the thing, is like, if you're not seeing results, you're not doing enough. If you're not getting customers from your host to post, you're not doing enough. If you're not seeing results from Instagram, you're not following enough people. Like there's just always more that you can be doing. And, you know, like for example, I told my team, like, I just announced our Diamond and Above retreat. By the grace of God, I hope COVID just pieces out and moves along somewhere else because it's really raining on my parade. But I told them their credentials to getting to my retreat is like they must complete their steps to success every month until our retreat happens. And the more you do it, the more you're going to stand out to me and the more chances you have to go. Like, I don't want to just reward bare minimum behavior because I know that bare minimum behavior gets you bare minimum results. If you want to go diamond super quickly and make massive paychecks, how much work are you willing to put in? That's the difference. So you still do the same 6 lists that I know Kelsey does, that Taylor does, that I do, that Stephanie Dunn did to go double ambassador. It's just how much more work were they willing to put in? How many times are you willing to coach your new distributors? Make sure you're sending them voice messages, doing the FaceTime, like all the behind the scenes is the things that connects you from this rank to the next.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bare minimum 6 lists, but then all the behind the scenes of those coaching calls you're doing, those, last night we broke apart the last Craig Groeschel podcast that I talked about in the last Zoom that I did with Kelsey, because it just literally spoke to me. I mean, I wrote like time brackets that we broke down and analyzed this entire video because it was so freaking good. But he was talking about being an anticipatory leader, like knowing, okay, we're heading off into summer. Like, how are you preparing your team? What contests are you doing? What things are you doing so that they don't slow down? Okay, you've got a new distributor. They're killing it right now, but what are they going to do when they get through that warm market and they have to start working the business? So are you teaching them to follow new people? Are you teaching them to grow their network to where they don't have that gap and they hit that wall? That's what it's about. It's like, how much not bare minimum can you do? Yes, you do your 6 list, but what behind the scenes can you make sure you're doing extra for your team to make sure that they're not just a bare minimum team, they're above and beyond team? And I think this is something that goes back to kind of culture of like what you're creating with your team. Like when you're going ambassador and had to pull in 130,000 in GB to go ambassador, like we can't do that by being a bare minimum team. Like I kept telling them, we're not just going to hit the finish line. We're going to soar past it, which was stupid of me to even think that we were going to even hit the finish line at all because it was so much BB. But I'm like, hey, y'all, we're shooting past it. And we shot past it by 12,000 in volume somehow. But it's because we didn't just do the bare minimum. Like you had to do the behind the scenes, the coaching calls, the lives, the extra, the messaging, the extra people, the not doing your 10 host posts, let's make it 50. Like 10 extra efforts and you'll see a big difference before just doing that basic 6 list that we preach.
Yeah, it's so good. And the anticipatory stuff is so important. It goes back to how do we anticipate, and I think that that's a question a lot of people have is how do we know what to expect? And I think the first thing I tell people is empathy. You have to have empathy. Okay, let's pause for a second. How do you think Shay is feeling? Okay, well, you don't really know because you don't know that much, but she did just tell us this is what's happening in her life. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Okay, how would you feel if that was you? And what would that be? Okay, cool. So now I know that Shay's in this situation. So as a leader, if she's on my team, I'm going to come to her in a different way than if she's not going through all of that stuff. So what problems, because I know she's going through this, I know this process isn't going to just be today. The process of everything happening with her sister-in-law is a process. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't start and stop one day. And so it's not going to be one conversation. So as a leader, I'm anticipating these are things that I'm going to need to have in place. I'm going to need to be more connected with her. I'm going to need to be supporting her in different ways. I'm not going to be talking about the business. I'm going to be talking about how she's doing as a person. I'm essentially going to be a therapist for her to talk about her feelings. Because right now she's leading other people. And so she is not, nobody asks the lion how they feel. Right? And so if you are a leader of leaders, that's something you have to be aware of is how are your leaders feeling? How is your team feeling? Let me stop getting in this mode of how I feel and start putting myself in how they feel so I can anticipate where their feelings are going to come from and how they're feeling. If you are somebody who gets shocked and blindsided by people quitting, there is an issue with your empathy. Mm-hmm. And it's not an issue where you're saying, oh, hey, maybe it's not that you don't have empathy. Maybe you just haven't had the time to stop and think about what is this person potentially feeling. Maybe you're so caught up in your own things. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is that, so it's empathy, but being proactive. Stop trying to be a fixer, because when you're a fixer, you're waiting for the problems for you to fix them. how much easier are problems to fix when they're this big than when they're this big? And I'm talking to myself, you guys, like I've had issues with my house that I know I should have fixed like a couple months ago, maybe. And now my dryer doesn't work because there's birds in them and I should have just fixed that problem. But it's because I didn't do the work at the beginning. I didn't do what I knew I should have done. I wasn't proactive about it. The first sign of a problem, I didn't want to nip it in the bud. And I waited, and guess what? The problem gets bigger. And so we have to be proactive. And I think that that's so good. Okay, what podcast or what kind of self-development are you doing right now?
So I'm a very visual person. Like I listen to, so Taylor shared the podcast in the comments while I also shared the video. So that's the difference between us. Okay. I'm very visual. And so I listen to the first podcast cause I get ready in the morning and I always make sure to do my hair and my makeup pretty much every day because it makes me feel good and my day's more proactive. And that's when I listen to my personal development. So I was listening to podcasts and I listened to that podcast and I listened to it once and I took out a couple of things. You know, I had like written down some things that I liked and I had talked to Kelsey about it on a Zoom. And then Rachel Jones had watched the video on her story and I connected the dots that it was the same thing. So I went and watched it on YouTube and took in everything, like all the things, because there was visuals and they like wrote the words so I could read them again. So I took in substantially more and then I did an entire leader Zoom over it because that's how much it shook me from the difference of a podcast and a video. So I'm a firm believer in YouTube videos where I can actually see things moving and like talk to people. So I love videos. I love videos more than books because I'm also very like, I'll be reading a book and look around and see the fact that I didn't do my laundry and I'll go grab my laundry, take it to the laundry room, realize that I didn't take clothes out of the dryer, take clothes out of the dryer, take in my room, didn't make my bed. Maybe pretty soon I didn't do anything that I was supposed to do. So I am like firm believer in Craig Groeschel. I love listening to all of his stuff. Like just, I think the reason I have a really hard time listening to men podcasts because they're so monotone, but he's a pastor. So I feel like he knows how to keep people engaged. So I love listening to his, I just think also whatever you need for that day is what you should be doing. Like if there's something that I feel like I specifically am needing help with, I look it up on YouTube or I'll open the podcast app on my phone and I'll watch something specifically that I need. I don't want to just listen to something to hype me up because that fades. I want to listen to something that's going to fill me up specifically about that. So like the other day I was really struggling on how to lead this one leader on my team. And she's blue and I really struggle leading blues really bad because I'm anti-blue and I don't understand the way they think and my red gets in the way. And so I was watching these videos on YouTube specifically about that thing that I needed. That benefited me way more than me go listening to a hype up podcast from some random girl on a podcast app. So I firmly believe that you need to like evaluate the things that you're struggling with, write it down, journal about it until you figure out what it is, and then specifically search for something like that that's going to fill you up. And it may not take an entire book for it to change you. You know, Kelsey said this the other day and I was like, that's so true. Like sometimes your personal development can be 3 minutes because you heard that one thing that you needed and then your whole day is like, oh my gosh, you need to listen to this podcast. Like I listened to 3 minutes of it and it just changed my life. Like, and you share it with your team and it's like one specific phrase. Like it was what Craig Rochelle said about the people that figure out how, or like the people that always have the job. It's like the people that figure out that know why, or the people that are their boss. Like shook me. I shared it with everybody and it was like one thing that I needed and my whole day was good. I was like, dang, I'm their boss. Like we good because I listened to that one part. So just find something that works for you. If you're somebody that loves to read, you read then books, sister. But if you're somebody like me that loves watching YouTube videos and retains so much more information by watching it, watch some YouTube videos, but do it specifically on things you need.
Yeah, so good. And just taking inventory of what is it that you need. Like sometimes it's like, oh, we're just going to listen to the latest thing or the Zoom that we missed last night. But like maybe your time is better spent on something that is, like you said, you're intentional about. Like I'm reading the relational intelligence book right now and it's like such good timing for me. I'm like, whoa, okay. This is a book that like I feel like I can only digest so much of, you know, like at a time because it's so thick with content. And so you have to figure out what works for you. Okay, Shay, what would be your advice for somebody maybe who's just getting started and they have good momentum, but they feel like, okay, how do I stop fear of I don't want it all to crumble to kind of not stop me from ever getting to where I want to go?
I think this kind of goes back to number one, I honor you, and know that we've all been there, all of us. There's not a single person in this business has not felt that. I felt that way when I'm ambassador. I was like, I will never, ever do this again. I will never push this promotion again. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I get here and like somebody quits and then it's a mess? And I think we all kind of have that fear because it's a prized possession. Like when you accomplish something, like that's yours. Like you did that, and the idea of it like losing it, kind of like when I got in my car and was like, okay, like I got this car, like this is what I got, this is my thing. So we always have that fear, but I think that kind of comes in of like you never losing the vision of where you're going, because when I went diamond, it was like I'd arrived, like that's all I needed, and then it got taken from me. Like I lost it all because I stopped going, I stopped dreaming, I stopped moving my train. I literally parked the car and stood in front of it and unpacked the bags and got out and like camped out in front of my car. Like, and we didn't just make a pit stop to like get some gas and some food. We like got a tent and like moved out. Like that's what happened. And then everyone quit and I lost everyone on my team and my paychecks went from 2,000 to 100 and barely enough to cover my auto shipment. Like it happens. And I think it only happens once because you learn your lesson and you never do it again, because after that moment, I've never stopped. I've never slowed down. And that's why I kept going. That's why I never had the time to even sit there and think about what if this crumbles, because I had been somewhere where it did. And I had seen what happens when you slow down and when you stop getting people in the system. I think it's very simple and we often overlook it. But like every time they do a Sunday family call, Mike is always talking about like, how do these people keep going? Like they keep promoting because they keep putting people in the system. They honor, why do you think they honor top enrollers? Because they honor the work. They honor the things that people consistently do. Like there's never been a month since I lost rank from diamond that I have not enrolled. I've enrolled every month. I've got customers in the system. I've got distributors in the system. I've helped them get people in the system, because that's how we grow, is like you never want to ever plant your roots. I think a lot of times people are like, well, I'm stuck. I promoted and I'm stuck. You're not stuck. God gifted you 2 legs for a reason. You can move them. You pick up one and then you pick up the next and you keep pick them up and you keep going. When you run a mile, okay, and you get like, for me, like 0.212 of the mile and you're already tired, you're like, gosh, dang it. And I had to stop looking at my phone because I had to stop looking at how far the mile was from being done. And I had to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I am not athletic whatsoever. Okay, what a waste of a 6-foot tall woman. People are like, did you play sports? Heck no, I didn't. You don't even want to see that. And it's like, I made myself start running a mile every single morning. And it really didn't get easier until like mile 17. And then I stopped running because I got sick and I haven't ran again. But now I know it's going to be even worse, but I got to put one foot in front of the other in order to get it done. And so those of you that have promoted, or maybe you finally got people on your team after a long time of like dry spells, or you're new here and you're so excited, and then you're like, okay, well, what if it stops? Well, it will stop if you stop. I think we have to realize the impact of how much control we have over our business. You control whether you put numbers in the system. Maybe not how many of them you do, but if you're working and you're doing host to post and you're posting on your story and you're going live and you're doing all the things, you will enroll. And if you're not, then you need to text your upline and get a new script, because it's probably the wording that you're using. But if you're doing the things, you will enroll. And it's just, I think the devil, okay, he's not a anti-yes devil. He's a go for no devil. Okay. He don't care if you say yes to doing it. He doesn't care if June 1st you shout out that promotion, but he's going to sure make sure that before the 30th you've said no to it. And so when you promote to that promotion, he's mad because you got it done. So now he's going to put all these things in your head and tell you like, what if you lose it? Oh my gosh, what if these people quit? Or what if it crumbles? Or, oh, you joined his business, you got your shopping spree, but you ain't going Ruby, like tells you all these things that you can't do. Like just keep doing the things that got you there, because if they got you there once, they're going to get you there again and again and again and again. You just got to keep doing it and not allow yourself to get planted. Like stay in the car, in the driver's seat, and don't get out and pitch a tent.
I just had like such an aha moment when you said we have to realize the impact of how much control we have on our business. You have to realize the impact of how much control we have on our business. Like, I think we often, and where we get stuck, is honestly when we feel like we're not in control. Well, I'm doing it. No, you're not. No, you're not. Like, if we're being honest, no, you're not. And if you did it for a day. A day. But do it for 7 and come back and talk to me. And All of us can say that. Drop a 2 in the comments if you know that. But you have to realize the impact of the control that you have on your business. It is not outside of your control. It is not outside of your control. Everything that you're getting is equal to the work that you're doing. Everything you're not getting is equal to the work that you're not doing. It's a very simple math equation. It's very simple. So good. So good. Okay.
Can you make me a co-host so I can share my screen for a second?
Yes. I think.
Okay, so last night, if y'all didn't watch the Show Me the Money call, it was really freaking bomb. Like, you really need to go back and watch it, okay? And so this part that she just talked about, I want y'all to hear what John said. It's like 30 seconds. I screen recorded it and shared it in my team page. It was that good. So I want y'all to see it because it was really good.
You newbie, that what happens in this business, this sounds really weird. It's not entirely up to you. What you have control over is the work you put in. That's all you can control. You can't control a volunteer army all the time. You can't control what that distributor does all the time. But what you can control each and every day is what you put your hands to. And what you put your hands to, the Lord will bless if you put your hands to it. And Sherry says it all the time. The Lord cannot and will not bless something that you don't put your hands to. He has to have your hands. And all through the double ambassador spiel, our prayer for 31 days straight was that we are the head and not the tail. We are above only and not beneath. We are blessed going in and blessed coming out. And everything these hands touch, they will prosper. And we prayed that for 31, our kids, they know it. They have memorized it. To this day, we pray it. And so you are a newbie. Put your hands to this business every day, 110 stinking percent, not 50%, not 40%, not for 3 days, and then you disappear for 4. The reason the Duns are the goats is because they show up every day. The reason that you see the Alcalas and the Christensens and the Marwas and the Boers and the names you see, the one thing that they have in common, newbie, is they put their hands to their business every day, and they do it consistently year over year, and the Lord will bless it if you put your hands to it. And that's what
so good.
Literally, I was like, yes, John, amen, take me to church.
Seriously.
He was talking to newbies too, so I was like, I'll take it in.
But I think we all have to be reminded of how simple it is. It's so simple. It's us who overcomplicate it. But the same people that overcomplicate it, we're the same ones that can untangle it. We're the same ones that cannot complicate it and can bring it back to how simple it is. And so I don't want you guys to buy into the lie that it has to be this, and this. I had somebody, I saw one of the questions was like, how do you balance everything? And it's like, how do you do everything? How do you keep up with everything? You don't. Is the answer. You don't. You try and you show up every day and you do the best you can, but you do whatever you can do, and that's enough. And that's enough. But you're never going to feel like, wow, I'm totally caught up. I don't know the last time in 5 years that I felt that way. Literally. And I say that not to discourage you, but to encourage you, to let that discomfort of, I'm so grateful that I get to have a business that is prospering in a way that I can't keep up. Isn't that what you prayed for? Isn't that what you prayed for? So stop cursing what you prayed for. We talked about this on the prayer Zoom today. It's like simply changing, like, I have to do laundry. No, girl, you got clothes that you get to wear. So you get to do that laundry. Right? Oh, I have to do this to clean the house. No, girl, you have a house that's protecting you that you get to clean. I have to do my 6 list. No, girl, you have an opportunity to change your life. You get to do your 6 list. Right? Oh God, I have to respond to all my team They're messaging me being so negative. No, girl. No, girl. You prayed for this exact team that you're complaining about. How often does God feel that way? Like, I mean, how many times have you given a gift? This is like such a big pet peeve of mine. How many times have you given a gift to somebody and they don't even say thank you? And then they start like some reason complaining about it. Like, could you imagine? It'd be like God giving us this brand new car and we're complaining about the sound that the car makes. That's what we're doing every single day. I'm guilty of it too. I'm not sitting here preaching like this never happened to me. You guys, I only know this because I've lived it. I've lived it.
You're preaching to me, sis.
Yeah, because I think that it's like we have to realize that we're always evolving. We're never complete. But just understanding that this is a journey, this is a process, and your job is not to run away from the things that you're struggling with. It's to lean into them. It's to know that those exact things that make you feel so uncomfortable are the exact things that are actually strengthening you. I never got stronger from the wins. I never got stronger from them. Did you mark something in a book? I saw you mark something in a book. And
I just wrote down what you said on a sticky note and put it on my computer because I needed that.
I was like, oh, I hope she's gonna read. Somebody said, when you're new and you don't have stories yet about what this business has done, how did you sign ETs? Did you share other people's stories? I feel like people are waiting to see where this takes me before they jump in. How should I go about convincing people to join?
You think about when me and Kelsey first joined this business and posted the most god-awful post about hashtag join my team with black, green, and bling before and afters and pictures from corporate that said join my rap business and join this rap girl team. We're ambassador because we did it and we started at start. Okay, my time hop does me dirty every day. I'm like, shoot, how did I go Ruby? How did I go Diamond in 5 months? How am I ambassador? I'm not sure, but it's because I stepped into it every day. People do not join me because they see I make $30,000 a month. They do not. They're like what I did when I joined my upline and said, can I just make 500 of that? That's what I did. I didn't care. If she would have been posting about $500 a month and I would have come across that post, I would have joined her just as fast because I wanted this much of what she had. And so when you get out there and you're brand new, you talk about where you're going. You talk about the promotion you're going to promote to. I talked about going diamond so much that when I went diamond, it was very anticlimactic because everyone was like, I thought you already were diamond. I thought you already got that $10,000 bonus. No, sister, I missed that $10,000 bonus and I only got the 5 because I wasn't good enough to do it in 3 months, but I still did it because I shouted it out every single day. I wasn't even Ruby and people were like, oh my gosh, so how much do you make as a Ruby? I'm like, I don't know. I'll tell you when I get there. I don't know. So if you're new and you don't have a story, I didn't have a story either. What my story was what I knew I wanted and what I knew I didn't want. And the life that I came from and where I was going of like, yo, look at my girl Kelsey, like living this life and all these moms. Like I wasn't a mom and I wanted moms on my team because I was tired of enrolling irresponsible 18-year-olds that would rather party every single night. So I started sharing other moms' stories and I started sharing what other people were doing with this business. And I got people because they saw other stories. So talk about where you're going. Talk about that promotion you're shooting for because you're just giving people hope. Nobody joins me because they know what promotion I'm at. Now, especially now that all we have to do is share the IDS and I can't even share how much money I make. They don't even know. So basically I could be a brand new distributor. If a distributor came and followed me today and you tomorrow, we could both be ambassador for all they know. They don't know. So just start sharing it. Just start talking about it. Start talking about what you're doing and how excited you are. Because I guarantee you the people that joined me was because I told them my life was great. I was balling. I was about to make so much money. I was so hyped and so excited. And everybody wanted to be a part of what I was a part of because they were like, what is she so excited about? What did they put in her water? I don't know. I don't know either, but I'm going to find out.
Yep. One of the best quotes I ever heard is nothing great was ever done without enthusiasm. Doesn't say nothing great was ever done without you making a lot of money. Nothing great was ever done without the perfect post. Nothing great was ever done without X, Y, or Z. Nothing great was ever done without enthusiasm. I actually just looked at my post from 5 years ago. First off, like, can you guys see this? Please, Jesus.
You don't even look the same.
like, okay, this is me. Okay, 5. Okay, and this says, I want to change 5 more lives this month with this business opportunity. Who's it going to be? I want you. Hashtag, don't believe us, just watch. Hashtag, it works. Hashtag, Thornton Family Adventure. Okay, you guys, literally, it says, the best part is you get 4 reps that you sell for $25 a piece and you get your money back. Boom, no risk investment.
I'm looking for 3 boss babes to join my team. Hashtag it works. Hashtag you want to be me.
No, literally. And so I'm saying this, and I had 15 likes on this post, y'all. It doesn't matter. We started, and you want to know what I wrote? Don't let $40,000 a year hold you back from $40,000 a month. Do you think this was?
You were making $40.
I was literally making $300 at that time. But I am literally talking and speaking this into existence. I'm not saying I've made this money. I'm not saying whatever, but what I'm saying is that I'm excited.
Yep.
Who doesn't want to be around somebody who's excited? We all want to be around somebody who's excited. We all want to be best friends with Tiffany Her. That's why, because she's always excited, right? And so I think that like when you kind of understand that it's not your lack of story, quote unquote, that you think that it's holding you back. That's not what's holding you back. What's holding you back is your lack of excitement about where you're going. And so if you can just get excited about where you're bomber, I can't. But if you can just get excited about where you're going, other people are going to want to come.
Didn't you post a picture of Max Rolls one time and talk about that fire?
Oh my God, I have the picture, dude. It's so bad. It's like fat rolls are only cute on kids. Let me see if I can spell it fast for you. And I put a bottle of Fat Fighters next to her. Like, what was I doing? Poor girl. Now she's like this sleek 5-year-old. Let me see.
Yeah, guys, you can't post anything wrong. Okay, you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. You talk about how hype and excited you are, and they're going to say, "Hey, girl, what are you doing? Like, what is this business? Oh my gosh, it's so good. I was making $17 at the time, so I didn't make any money, but I was talking about where I was going, and these people want to be a part of it."
This was it. Here you go, guys. You black and green and white. And literally my caption, avoid those rolls this summertime with advanced formula fat fighters. Rolls are only cute on babies, especially Mac. Message me for details.
This was my first post. Who wants to get tight and toned and firm and look snatched?
Dude, we should have a Zoom of all of our old worst. You know how they have the not top 10 for Sports Center? We literally need the not top 10 for our post. We could be on a comedy show, literally. But seriously, you guys, Shay, thank you so much. I'm going to close this out in prayer if you don't mind. And I just really appreciate your time. And especially during all the stuff you're going through, you could have easily just said, nah, bro, I can't. And I would have understood, but I appreciate you showing up as always, and showing out. I know so much of the stuff I needed to hear. I know everybody else needed to hear it. And so just thank you for being you. Dear Jesus, we just come to you tonight. Just so grateful for Shay. I just ask that you continue to just bless her business, just pour increase out over her business, just as if you already are. Lord, I ask you protect her family during this difficult time as they transition and they go through just such a grieving process, that I ask that you just guard their hearts, that you allow them to feel, that you allow them to take time, that you allow them to lean on you, that, Lord, we're so dependent on you, and every single day you remind us just that we can't do it by ourselves. And even if we could, we wouldn't want to. Because life with you in it is so much better. It doesn't mean that the storms don't come. It just means that when we partner with you, we can withstand any storm. And so thank you for being there with us through the storms. Thank you for guiding us and leading us and directing us. And even sometimes if we can only see 1 foot right in front of where we're going, that's all we need. Because if we saw the whole picture, it would overwhelm us. So as we continue to move forward, as we continue to put our hands to the work, Lord, continue to bless it. Continue to bless every single person under the sound of my voice and help our character grow just bilaterally, just right along with our character growth. As our character grows, let our blessings grow and let our circle of influence grow, because we know that we don't want any of this without you. And so we're grateful for you. We're grateful for the work you're doing in each person right now. We're grateful for Sheyenne. Thank you, Jesus, for just the relationships that you've helped us make in this business, people you've connected us with. And we ask just a special prayer over the leaders of our company, that they continue to make amazing decisions, that they continue to be guided by your voice, by your wisdom. And that we all see just crazy increase, and we use all the blessings that this business has given us for your glory. And we ask all of this in your name. Amen. I love you guys. Bye.